An afternoon storm chance. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here is college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are ready to talk on this Talking Tuesday. Looking forward to hearing from all you guys, because today will be a Talking Tuesday led by the people. Normally we have Clint Lamb joining us at the top of the hour, but with I think we got Commitment Watch going on at noon. I know Clint likes to go live at those times. We're going to punt to Friday, I believe, so we'll hear from Clint then. We'll talk about his top players on this upcoming this roster for this upcoming season. I don't know where he's at with his rankings. I think he dropped the top 10 last week. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. But I do know in terms of the commitment, you got Tyler Younger, an edge out of Georgia, a young man that I believe received an offer not too long ago from Alabama after attending a camp. I think they've been recruiting him for a little bit longer than that, obviously. But he is making a decision today. He's choosing between Alabama. I know Stanford's up there as well. He took a visit out there. I know a lot of people feel that he might be leaning Alabama. We'll have to see. But in terms of what I know about him, because I know a lot of people are probably wondering that, given that he plays the position I played, well, I think he's definitely got a lot of upside to him, a lot of potential. Now, in terms of rankings and ratings and all that, for all the folks that are hyper-focused on that, beware. It's not going to blow you away. Matter of fact, he might be outside the top 1,000 players, Reed, if I'm being honest with you. I think if I saw that correctly. But here's the thing. I spoke with some people about him, and I was able to kind of get some, other than just the highlights I saw in Huddle. I got to watch a little bit more on him. And I'll say this, man, don't overreact to where he's rated, because I do believe he's a guy, just looking at him with his stature. I mean, he's long. 6'5", really long arms. And he's not like lanky, skinny, long. I mean, he's got a frame where he could probably easily hold 250 plus and still maintain his athleticism, speed, his twitch, and all that. Now, I wouldn't label him as the twitchiest guy that I've ever seen, but he's got good athleticism. Matter of fact, I believe he played more of a stack backer before being moved to edge. So I don't even think he's been playing off the edge long. I'll pull up some of his highlights and give a little bit of a quick little brief breakdown on him. But you'll notice, I mean, he's very raw, right? I mean, even just little details, rolling off his front foot, not false stepping, learning how to really step and engage. I mean, a lot of little fine tuning needs to be done, which again, he just moved to the position. I'm not going to overanalyze that. To be honest with you, you can coach those things up. But some of the clips that I've seen of him recently, of him training and doing some stuff, I think he had been posting on social media, comparing that to what I had seen on his tape. I mean, he's already made strides. So you can tell he's actively working on his craft, and just little details, like he's just working, bag drills and things like that. You're just seeing him kind of go through the motions of flipping his hips and learning the art of pass rush and really perfecting it. You can tell that he's a quick learner. He's getting more and more comfortable with the movement. And I'm not going to be shocked if he ends up being a guy that flies up boards throughout the season. Now, granted, I don't know how high, because, again, I think he's currently outside of the top 1,000 players, and I don't know exactly how they come up with all their stuff. But I'm just saying, for me, Reed, actually looking at who he is, not his ranking, I think he would be a great pickup. Definitely a developmental guy. I mean, that's not somebody you expect to contribute year one by any means. I mean, which is okay. Again, let me reiterate, for people who think that I just say these comments without being self-aware enough to know that I was a developmental guy. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a little bit different nowadays because you're expected to play a little bit sooner. You don't have the same depth. But again, he's a guy where you're probably not paying a whole bunch for. I mean, he'll probably be a little bit, I don't know if he's scholarship only. He probably would qualify for scholarship only, but if you're competing with maybe a Stanford or something like that, you might throw a little bit there just to help kind of get him, on campus, which I think will be fine, because I see a lot of upside with him, a lot of potential with him. And I think he can end up growing into a good player off the edge. And we'll have to wait and see about his commitment. But I say all that to say 12 o'clock, I believe, is when he's committing. So in about 45 minutes, give or take. So I don't know if we can find that and watch that live read. I mean, because I'll be honest with you, it's a Talking Tuesdays, a Dog Days of Summer. We're kind of just chilling, hanging out. We got plenty of time to talk about stuff. If we can pull it up, maybe we'll do that and watch it live together. If not, of course, we'll just refresh, and as soon as he makes his decision, we'll let you guys know. But I do think it's going to be a close one. I know Alabama is heavily involved here. I know they're definitely trending in the right direction. But I also know he took a visit out to Stanford, and of course, my best friend's coaching out there. Matter of fact, he's the one over there recruiting him. So, I mean, a little bit of a battle between Alabama and Coach Mosey over there. So we'll kind of see how this one goes. Kind of exciting to see that. It's kind of fun getting to see the two dynamics go at it. But, we'll talk about that a little bit later and more. In terms of other little intro stuff to throw out there, I know Wyatt and you, Rita, mentioned the Giannis news. For all you guys that are big NBA fans, I told you guys, I'm more of a playoff type of guy. So there's that. But still, big news there, big trade. Giannis Antetokounmpo, if I said that right. I feel like I'm pretty close. Reed, you want to judge my pronunciation there?
I mean, yeah, I think that's pretty close on. I think it's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Good enough? Yeah, good enough. I think it counts. Big blockbuster trade there. He ends up heading down to South Beach, man. He's taking his talents down to the 305, kind of like LeBron did, right? But he'll be joining the Heat in a huge trade. So it was Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis. They'll be heading to Miami in exchange for Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware.
Khalil Ware.
Yeah, Khalil Ware. Oh, man. Spanish pronunciation. We're going Jaime or are we going Jamie?
It's Jaime. It's Jaime.
Yeah, okay, there we go. I was about to say, I should get this right because I speak Spanish. No, I told you guys, I don't keep it with NBA anyway. A boatload of players is a pick for Giannis and Bobby Portis. So we're just going to keep it simple like that. We don't really cover the NBA like that. 3 first-round picks, including number 13, 1 pick swap, and a second-rounder. So, I mean, they sent the house. I think one of you guys had asked my thoughts on this yesterday. I had no idea. But it sounds like the Heat ends up winning the knot. Reed, you keep up with basketball. Any thoughts on this, how this impacts things in the league? I mean, I know the Heat. I mean, you got Bam still down there who just set the record for most points scored in a game. That was a little bit of a debate there, whether it should be credible or not. But regardless, the stat is the stat. Now he's joining forces with Bam in Miami. What do you think about this big shakeup? Do you like it? You love it? You hate it?
Kind of. I'm still in between because, they broke the news. Shams broke it like late last night. And I mean, we've been hearing this Giannis wondering for, a good while now, Christian. Like, it's been a few years, and it's been continuously the Heat. And I honestly thought, the two teams that I was hearing that it came down to was the Heat and the Celtics. And I thought the Celtics were, they were going to try to go all in to try to team up Jason Tatum and Giannis Antetokounmpo. But just the fact that they gave up, Tyler Hero, who, I think he's got his real good, upside as well as, he kind of fringe all-star player at his peak. Jaime Jaquez, who a few years ago got drafted. He was really solid his rookie year. And Khalil Ware, who averaged, if I'm correct, near close to a double-double. I think both of those numbers are short, maybe 9 rebound, 9 points or something close to there. So, I mean, they gave up a good amount of players and a good amount of picks, but especially the one I'll be looking out for today is that number 13th overall pick in this draft that comes on later tonight.
Well, we'll definitely have to keep up with it. And LeBaron Philon, we'll definitely see kind of where that ends up going and definitely be watching out for that. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about Bama basketball. We talk a little bit about that. We don't get a whole bunch of the NBA. My dad was a little bit more frequent on here. He was a big NBA guy. He broke it down. I'll be honest with you. I don't watch it enough to really give you, as you just heard, I can't really analyze it like that. I mean, I know about basketball, but we'll leave it to other folks. If you guys wanted to start talking about it, I will. I'll start getting more engaged with it. But we all know how it works around here, at least right now, Reed. Football is the bread and butter. Football is what pays the bills. Everybody wants to talk about football. So we kind of just lean a little bit more in that direction. But who knows? Maybe we'll venture out some eventually, especially during the dog days of summer. We'll get a little bit, creative here. All right, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling. We'll talk some more about Tyler Younger, the young man making his decision today. I believe there's also another one. I got to check the time on that. That is the offensive lineman out of Arab forgetting his name. I'll get that cleaned up. Listen, I got a whole bunch of stuff going on outside of this, so bear with me, guys. I'm trying to do my best to manage everything on my plate, but it's a lot. But you know what they say. I mean, don't complain when your plate's full when you want it to be fed. That's not exactly how it's said, but it's close enough. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling. This Talking Tuesday edition, we're wide open. So I want you guys to get on the phone lines, 205-342-9904. Let's talk about
Once all the tickets are sold, you don't have to be present to win. To purchase tickets, Venmo at Brandon-Massengale or bring cash to Jess Sumner at Cypress Supply.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Proud partner.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. High pressure now building in from the north and drier air starting to filter into the I-2059 corridor. Got to get south of US 80 to really start to run into the heat and humidity and a storm chance. 85 here this afternoon with sunshine. 65 tonight, 87 tomorrow. Moisture makes a return. A slight chance of showers and storms. 89 on Thursday, an afternoon storm chance. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
For more from Tide 100.9, let's it fly! And there's it! Whoa! Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and SoundCloud.
Into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're talking really anything and everything, but of course, it's probably going to fall back on football, Reed. We know how this whole thing works. That said, I asked you guys what you guys want to talk about. I know the first one said recruit. I know some folks were saying, well, recruiting talk, it is what it is. But to be fair, you got some commitments being made today, so I will definitely talk about that. Let's just keep talking about Tyler Younger for a second. While we've been discussing him, let me pull up his highlights on the screen because he is the one that will be committing first, Reed. I think the next one will be this afternoon, probably when we're off the show, but I definitely will just kind of give my thoughts on the young man. I don't know exactly where he's leaning or anything like that, but I will say this. The two young men that we have deciding today, if you just go off of ratings and surface level stuff and you're kind of just going to jump on the, oh, man, you know, we're just taking a bunch of 3-stars train, which, again, I get it. It's not alluring. It's not pretty. But yeah, I always think it's important to go beyond just that. Anyway, if that's all you care about, you know, even if you pick up these two young men today, you're probably not going to be satisfied, right? Because they are lower rated players, 3-star guys, a little bit more under the radar. But if you're like me and you want to look beyond that and actually look at who these guys are, right? Because that's what matters, who they are, not their rating. I think you actually will walk away pleasantly pleased, Reed, if I'm being honest with you. And I'm not just saying this. Let me be clear. You guys know me. I don't sunshine pump. I don't just say things just to make you guys happy. I'm honest. Watching both of these young men today, I would label both of them, even though they're lower-rated guys, could potentially be scholarship-only guys, without a doubt. Wouldn't be shocked if they get a little bit of NIL because you're just trying to make sure you secure them. They probably got some people still coming after them. I know Tyler Younger to Stanford and a couple other schools. The offensive line, I think he has like South Carolina, Virginia Tech. There might be some NIL offers for, from those programs. So maybe you pay a little bit there. But anyway, all that being said, I would label both these guys as good development pieces and honestly good kind of under the radar finds in terms of guys that I think could end up being much better than they currently are projected or rated. And again, I'm not just saying that. That is from me watching the limited highlight tapes that I've seen. That's not saying they're going to be all-stars. That's not saying they play like 5 stars. That's just saying, even though they're 3-star players for their ratings, it might be outside of the top 1,000. When I turn on the tape, I see a lot of upside in both of these guys. I'm talking about Tyler Younger and the other young man, which is the offensive lineman out of Arab, Alabama. Let me pull up his name so I can get it right. Reed, you don't have it by chance, do you? Okay, let me pull it up so we can get his name right. Stafford Willis, there we go. Stafford Willis and Tyler Younger. Both of those guys, I think they have a really nice upside. We'll start with Tyler Younger because he is coming up here in about 35 minutes or so. I mentioned that size. He's like 6'5", 220 is what he's listed at. I'll be honest with you. I feel like he might be pushing 230. At least he's filled out like that. He doesn't look like, to me, 6'5", 220. I know what I looked like when I was 6'3 and a half, 220. He looks bigger than I looked. So from a stature standpoint, traits upside, I think he's got a lot of potential to work with. I talked last segment about him definitely being a project, right? I mean, and I'm going to put these highlights on the screen. Sorry, you got this little ad loading. It's huddle. Don't get mad at me. Can't control that. I don't think you can fix that. But you'll see from a mechanic standpoint, I mean, whether it's footwork, just learning how to strike, engage, all that stuff, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, which is okay, right? He's just a high schooler, hasn't played the position long. We can work with that. But I love just the traits that he has. And then even just the clips. If you go on his Twitter, he's posted, you see the backside pursuit right there. Really nice job. But he's posted clips of him working out, Reed. And I get it. My dad's the type, jocks and T-shirts, whatever, doesn't mean anything. But what I would say is you can just see, the improvements, the evolution of just his comfortability working things and movements. Like if you watch him come off the ball, he's not like coming off the football, right? He's almost kind of galloping, right? We got to fix that. But the good news is that's easy. And you see right there, right? We're not coming up. We're kind of stepping in the same place or stepping underneath ourselves, not gaining much ground. Those are just little fine-tuning things that coaching, that's no problem. But you can't coach 6'5". You can't coach super long arms, right? You can see he's got natural strength, right? Pretty bad job coming off the ball initially striking, but you see him press the guy and use that length. Those are things that we can coach. And then just knowing he has a background, you see him right here coming off the football, right? If he's played stack back, I don't know to what extent. Like if he was playing like Mike, I don't know if it's more just like an outside backer walking on the apex. Regardless, you have to be pretty comfortable in space to do that. So that's encouraging. I project him by skill set probably in that wolf spot, but to be honest with you, with his frame, he probably ends up growing into a band. And I think he really could play both. That being said, I think, again, if you go off the tape, you see right there, right? The initial strike's not there. We got to train him. But then you see him bench press the guy, and you can see he's not weak. He just needs to fine tune his tools, right? I love that violent shed. Like he's got a lot of stuff to work with. So in terms of bringing a guy in to work with and to develop over time, I like it. You're not over investing. You're his biggest offer. I think if I read something correctly, he's always kind of, I don't know if he said he dreamt of playing at Alabama, but it's obviously like a dream opportunity. He's a guy you probably can keep around there. It's a low budget type of player, but he can end up developing nicely and probably end up being a pretty decent player for you down the road. So I really liked it out of him. I'll jump over to his, let me see, everybody had a timeout in a couple minutes, but if you jump over to his X account, Twitter that is, you can see he's posted some clips of him getting some work in at, doing drills. Look at this, Reed. Like, look at the difference right here. Now, you just saw, and again, we're watching this on the stream. So for our radio listeners, I'll describe this as good as I can, but you guys can always check us out on the streams. That way you can watch the show as well when we put stuff on the screen like we are doing now, right? What he's working right here, he's working what we call like a pepper step, right? That quick jab. It's almost like a crossover, right? You're setting that offensive lineman up when you come off the ball and you're getting ready to make a move. What that does is that gets him to stop his feet, kind of freezes, right? Because that offensive lineman has to respect that. Guys that can kind of work that little pepper step, what we call it a jab step, that just helps you kind of, prepare for your move you're about to work. But what I want you to notice is you just see the movement, right? Even him working what I would call is a two-hand swipe. It kind of looks like either a two-hand swipe or he's kind of working. It's almost like a mix between a two-hand swipe or almost what we call a stab club, right? It's probably a little bit in between there. But you see him flip his hips, turn the corner. Just the movement itself, to me, already looks much better than anything I saw in his highlights. So what that tells me is this guy's working, man, because this was this April. So this was after the highlights that he posted that we had watched. Here's another clip of him. Again, and I don't know where he's working at. It looks like he's at some facility. But you can see the frame, man. Really long guy. You know, he's going to gain a lot of ground coming off the football. Even just, you see the get-off read. Remember, we just talked about the gallops, stepping under yourself. That's like the last thing you want to do as an edge guy. You always want to gain ground. Well, shout out to his trainer and whoever he's working with, because you can see, right, he's working on coming off the football, a much, bigger first step. He's gaining a lot more ground right now. He's working a counter, that inside move, tackle over sets, working inside. So just little stuff like that, man. Like, again, I know some people probably don't think much of it, but to me, since someone has played that position my whole life, my dad played 9 years in the league. I mean, I know a lot about playing outside backer and edge, and I can just tell you, he has a lot of tools and traits that you can work with. I know I'm kind of rambling, so we're due for a timeout. We'll take a timeout. We come back, we'll keep talking a little bit of recruiting talk. Again, Tyler Younger, who we just were speaking about, will be committing, I think, at 12, so we'll keep up with that. Maybe we can watch it. If not, we'll just tell you as soon as he makes that decision. We'll talk a little bit about Stafford Willis as well. I got to watch him and his highlights. I'll share my thoughts on that. Then we'll talk some ball talk, because that was the other suggestion. You guys want to talk schemes, defense, adjustments, all that good stuff. We'll talk that. So if you got any specific questions, drop them. Of course, you guys can always call in 205-342-9904. We appreciate you guys tuning in, hanging out with us on this Talking Tuesday edition. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-9...
24/7 with Progressive, so you can keep worrying about boater problems. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in D.C.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
Follow Tide 100.9 on Facebook today to watch our live shows, read the great articles, and interact with Bama fans today.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. At this point, Reed, I might need to start charging for outside linebacker lessons, man. I feel like I'm putting everybody on game right now. I don't know if we have anybody that's got kids that are pass rushers or edge players, but you better be tuning in right now, because I'm giving you guys all the secret sauce to being a good edge player. While we're talking about Tyler Younger, a guy who I believe is a very nice under the radar guy. Now, again, for a position that you're going to be a little bit light in next year, Reed, Yanze Pierre expected to enter the NFL draft. I would be shocked if he returned to school. I think that is an option, but that's not going to happen. You'll have Justin Hill and you have Matthews, a couple other guys, but you probably need some help in that room. To me, you take Younger as a developmental guy, but even if you land him, without a doubt, I think they need to go to the portal. They need to get one more guy that can probably offer some immediate help, even if it's depth, kind of getting some burn in the rotation. But I'll keep talking about Tyler Younger in a little bit once he ends up making his decision, which I think we all are, I guess, leaning and hoping that it's Alabama, but we'll have to see. Because like I mentioned, I know that Coach Mosey and Stanford, they're on his tail, man. They like him a lot over there as well, which, by the way, one thing I heard about him too, which I know people probably don't care about this as much nowadays with NIL being kind of at the forefront, but I heard he's like a really smart guy in terms of academically, like he's big into that stuff. So that might work against us there, because Stanford, I'm pretty sure they got a damn good degree out there. So I mean, we'll have to see how that whole thing goes, but we'll keep up to date with them. Stafford Willis, real quick, while we round out this recruiting talk, at least for now, we'll keep it going. But Stafford Willis, the other young man who will be making his decision, he's from Arab, Alabama, which is not too far down the road, if I'm not mistaken. Reed, you familiar with Arab? I know there's a dealership down there that I've seen they sell some nice trucks before, but I don't know if I've ever been there. I want to say it's probably maybe like an hour and some change away. Does that sound right? I mean, I know you're from like the Birmingham area. Is it closer to you?
No, I think it's more so. I think with us being here in Tuscaloosa, I think it's closer to us here. But I've never been up that way. But I've heard some good things about it, at least in high school. I know they've got some good high school wrestling over there, but outside of that, it's really about it.
Okay, well, Arab, Alabama is where Stafford Willis is from. Now, I believe he's choosing between, it looks like, at least on here, according to Rivals, which is a part of On3 now, Alabama, South Carolina. So it's a battle between me and the Pastor Payne, I guess, to see who's going to land. Stafford Willis out of Arab, Alabama, but I'll pull up his highlights as well. Just watched him on tape, Reed, before I get to that. Size-wise, I mean, I think he kind of fits what they're looking for. I mean, he's kind of got a little bit more of that athletic stature. He's listed at 6'5", 290. So, of course, his frame, he'll get on campus, put a little bit more weight on. He's not like too small, like on like the light side, but I think he's got probably that athletic frame that they're probably looking for. Then when you turn on the tape, he does move really well. Now, there's not a whole bunch of highlights in terms of him working, in pass pro, so it's hard for me to kind of get a gauge on maybe his set, his footwork there. Again, a lot of things that we can correct, but just going off of who he is as a player, again, they've got him like ranked 1321, 1,321st in the country. I don't know how they rate that many players, but in my opinion, just watching him, man, he's aggressive, he's physical, he's looking to finish blocks. I'll throw this on the screen. I don't know what the white stuff is at the bottom there. But you can see, man, he's a nasty kid, man, when it comes to offensive line play. Fired up. I love it, jumping around, getting the pancake. He plays tackle. You see them working that combo block right there. He's bringing them down to the whistle. Got to be careful. We want a holding call there. But here you can see him in pass pro. Again, he's physical at least. Footwork, I mean, probably be cleaned up a little bit. But the biggest thing I noticed out of him is he's got the frame you're looking for, right? He's a physical guy. He's nasty. He plays with that attitude. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say somebody mentioned that they might view him a little bit more as a guard, which I could totally see him working inside, right? Footwork wise, I mean, he doesn't have the I guess the quickest feet I've ever seen. But again, if you work him in at guard, I think he'll fit in just fine. But regardless, again, we're talking about guys that aren't going to cost a lot, could potentially just be scholarship only type of players, or just, barely taking a hit out of your revenue share. But in my opinion, for where they're ranked, I'll be honest with you, some of these 4-star guys that I've watched, I mean, I think there's an argument to be made that, hey, why aren't these guys higher than what they are? And again, that is not me coping. That is not me sunshine pumping. That's just me being honest. Like, he's got the traits, right? He's got the physicality that you want. Now, again, I'm not like an expert on offensive line play, but I've faced him every day for years, so I know a pretty decent amount about it. He looks like a solid player, especially for what you're going to get him at. So I think you guys can see just by watching the highlights of both of these guys why I would label them as kind of sleeper guys that, you're getting them for a great bargain. You're not paying a whole bunch of money to, but they're flashing signs that they can develop and be good players. And if they're not, you're not really investing a whole bunch, right? So if anything, these are the guys, if you are going to take lower rated guys like this or guys that aren't, a whole bunch of money, the investment's not huge, being, specific and finding players that have these traits, that have the upside that these two young men have, I think is a great idea, right, for those types of players. And I think you have a good chance of them at least, giving you probably a good look in practice and seeing what they turn into. If they don't turn into anything, the investment wasn't very big anyway, and you can kind of just keep on with what you're doing. Does that make sense, Reese? So, just watching these guys, they're not like guys that you're worried that, and they look okay. No, I think they look like they can hold their own. They got a good upside. I think they could end up growing into something, and it's not a big investment. So I can totally understand.
Yeah, and Christian, I was also going to say, these guys also have their senior year up and coming, and I don't know how big it was for you, at least in your recruiting, but the junior, senior year, this is your last year. You're going to take that hopefully a big step, and whether that's in the rankings or really just development in the game. That's a huge step, in your potential, whether it's collegiate or hopefully maybe down the road, that small percentage going to the professional level.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, of course, are there going to be things that they could, polish it up a little bit, be a little bit better at, might lack a little bit of? Sure. Again, you're not really investing a whole bunch, but for where they're ranked at, I'm telling you, I could make an argument that the tape that I'm seeing, again, these are highlight tapes. I would much rather be able to pull up a full game tape and get a whole picture, but I don't have that luxury. But if we're just comparing highlight tapes, I'll be honest with you, man. If you pull me up somebody that's ranked even just twice as high because he's 1,300, if I found somebody in the 500 or 600 range, I guarantee you I could tell you this guy's better than a number of those guys. So and maybe these guys that didn't attend a bunch of camps, maybe they're a little bit under the. I don't know. I know how my recruiting, journey was. I know I attended. Shout out to Coach Bacon. I know he watches the show, man. He's coached in Greenville now. He was our offensive coordinator at Spring Valley. But we talk about helping us out with recruiting, man. He had all of our tapes sent out to every single staff and camp and all this stuff. And I know going to camps helped me. Some of these kids, man, they're rated low because they don't attend those camps like that, whether they don't have the resources or they just, they didn't go. And so sometimes if you don't have those eyes on you, you kind of fly under the radar. And maybe that's the case with a young man like this. But, he's got offers from South Carolina, I think Virginia Tech as well, several other, pretty solid schools. So, I don't think I think Tyler Younger's a little bit more under the radar than this guy. But, I think both guys are great development pieces with a lot of upside that fans should, if you're tuning in. I don't know why you guys wouldn't want to tune into the Miller's Edge. We don't just look at ratings. We show you guys the film. We show you guys the tape, and you're getting expert opinion. That said, fans should be excited about both these young men if they do, in fact, commit to Alabama for their potential that they have down the road and for what they could potentially grow into. That being said, Reed, any final thoughts on this young man before we hit this next time out? And it's just these two guys today. I think there's more. There's a wide receiver that's supposed to be making a decision, I think, sometime this week. I have to pull up his name, but I think it's between us and Auburn. Maybe we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But as of now, it's just these two, right? Do I have that correct, Reed?
Yeah, and really, I just think that, kind of like you pointed out, I don't know, I just feel like when it comes to recruiting, so many people really get stuck up in those guys that they're expected to start day one. And kind of like you said yourself, sometimes it just takes that development, whether that's just size or them to specifically narrow down a certain technique to actually get to the level they want to get at.
100%. And a lot of the time it's about kind of foreseeing the future, to be honest with you. There's not a whole bunch of guys that you can look at and just go, okay, he can contribute day one. He's ready. He's a guy. Those guys are going to be your high rated 5 stars. And there's not many of those guys out there. So a lot of the time you have to go off of measurables. You got to go off of frame. You got to go off of, hey, what does his hip and ankle flexibility look like, right? Is he a fluid athlete? How's it change of direction? Right? Like all these little details, and you're trying to just look ahead. And I think with these two young men, they're doing a good job in that department. Again, Stafford Willis will be deciding today between Alabama, South Carolina, Virginia Tech, UCLA, and Virginia with Tyler Younger. I think it's more so between, Alabama, Stanford, and I don't know all his finalists, but I know he's got an offer from, looks like Baylor, UCF, Boston College, and various others. But we'll have to see. But I think both guys would be solid pickups. Now, I will add this as we close things out. Of course, in a perfect world, I think people would probably feel best if you say, hey, we took a higher rated edge guy that probably has the makeup of maybe contributing a little bit early, and then you took this young man and Tyler Younger to be that second option as a developmental piece. In a perfect world, yes, that would be ideal. However, when you're only limited on the number of guys you're taking, it is kind of what it is. And in terms of offensive line, again, we got a lot of young guys on the roster that can come back. This kind of makes sense with what you're dealing with. Hey, take a developmental guy. He can be a good depth piece, practice squad kind of guy. Never know who you're going to lose, and then kind of just go from there. Maybe in the next class, you go after a little bit harder. So I get the folks that want to see more noise, higher rated guys. I totally understand. In a perfect world, yes, you take, some of these guys for development and other guys that also might need to develop, but also probably could play a little bit earlier and might have a little bit higher upside. But this is kind of the formula, at least as it appears right now. And I think these two guys kind of fit with what we've been talking about. I feel like I rambled a little bit. I apologize. Talking Tuesday, 205-342-9904 is the phone lines if you guys want to get on that. We got to hit a timeout when we come back. We will keep on rolling right here, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Tuesday edition of The Game, we're going to talk with Mike Detillier, WWL, the Big 870. We'll also have a chance to talk with Bruce Marshall. Professional handicappers will look ahead of the college football odds, all starting at 2 p.m. on The Game with Ryan Fowler on Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next.
Quick, it's easy, and it's free. Go to mylocalcustomers.com today.
That's mylocalcustomers.com. Mylocalcustomers.com.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info,
Osment Jewelers, a Tuscaloosa original since 1904, a shop that has stood the test of time with jewelry made to stand the test of time. FincherandOsment.com.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-9149 for your free estimate today. That's 205-393-9149. Asphalt Restoration, where smooth roads start. Roll Tide.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. High pressure now building in from the north, and drier air starting to filter into the I-2059 corridor. Got to get south of US 80 to really start to run into the heat and humidity, and a storm chance. 85 here this afternoon with sunshine. 65 tonight, 87 tomorrow. Moisture makes a return. A slight chance of showers and storms. 89 on Thursday, an afternoon storm chance. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media Tuscaloosa.
It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Find Tide on Twitter at Tide 109 to keep up with show announcements, guests, and our reporters in the field.
Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We've been talking a boatload about recruiting, and rightfully so. That's kind of the hot topic, I guess, of not just the hour, but really in general. So yeah, we're talking about that. We'll segue here in a second, talk about a couple other different things. Then we'll go back to it once we hear Mr. Younger's decision. That said, I don't know if you saw this yesterday, Reed. Alabama not only is picking up commitments, but they're also picking up, I guess, new staffers. Alabama has announced that Matt Zenitz officially announced it, but Alabama has, let me see. Sorry, I just got a million things going on next to me right now. I thought I had it saved anyways. They hired an assistant for the tight end room, which I'll be honest with you, Reed, is a little bit new to me. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I've really heard of too many like tight end assistant coaches, but hey, man, if that's what you need to help improve not only the position, but other things like the running game, which we know is extremely important, I'm all on board for it. So as I pull this up, long story short, they went and hired a young man that was working alongside Coach Owens, who they did just hire as the new tight ends coach. So basically bringing over, I'm assuming, his former assistant. And that young man is Noah Fisher. He has officially been hired as the assistant tight ends coach. And a little bit on his background, he was a multi-year starter at left tackle for South Alabama. So in terms of recruiting purposes, I would argue that that's pretty beneficial, I would imagine, right? He's got ties to South Alabama, the area. I'm not sure where he's originally from, but he played ball there, so that's obviously a positive. He's worked at Louisville the last 2 years, assisting with, get this, both the tight ends and the offensive line. So, very similar to Coach Owens, he's got a background with both tight ends and offensive line. So, to me, it's a very encouraging hire. Again, I don't know a whole bunch about him personally. I just don't. But the fact that his background states that not only has he worked with tight ends, which he'll be working with here, but with offensive line as well, that shows that there truly is a commitment to trying to get this running game figured out, which we all know it is the number one priority. I don't care who you ask. It is the number one priority. And between the movements from replacing offensive line coach from last season and getting Adrian Clem, who we've heard nothing but positive things about so far. A lot of players are strongly receptive to him, and just a lot of good things coming out so far with the job that he's done in this brief amount of time. Coach Owens at the tight end spot with his background coaching offensive line, but also playing tight end at the highest level, and then signing a tight end assistant, which again, I mean, I know there's a lot of assistants nowadays, but I never really heard one for tight ends. But hey, the more the merrier, I guess. And if it fits in the budget and it helps us improve, I think it'll be good. Which not only do we need to improve the running game, but I would argue that the tight end room, I mean, there's some work to be done there as well. And I think if you pair up the new coaches that we have with these new philosophies that I would imagine is a physical, down to business, kind of doing the dirty work type of philosophy, Reed, I think pairing that up with the group that we have is a nice recipe. Because if you think about it, we got some big boys in that room, right? I mean, when you talk about the tight end position, you got your Ys and your H's, which the Ys are inline players. They're responsible for blocking in that C area. They're going to have to be physical players. They're going to be blocking big defensive ends, right? So they got to be able to hold their own in the run game. And if you look at it, you got Caleb Edwards, who big body guy. I mean, he's 267 in that range. Josh Ford, he's also in that 260 plus range, 267, I believe. So they got some big bodies in there. And so now you got the coaching and developmental piece added. At least that's the expectation, to help those guys improve in that area. Because last year, Caleb Edwards, even though he's a bigger guy, he probably played a little bit more like a pass catching tight end. definitely probably was more comfortable in that area of his game. We heard him speak during the offseason, and he without a doubt mentioned that run blocking was one thing that he definitely wanted to improve on. So it sounds like they're trying to get all the resources necessary, Reed, to help these young men. So we got the body types, we got the players. Mindset is a big thing. Hopefully they have that piece, or at least can try to work towards that. And hopefully we can see some improvements there. Reed, I know we got this top hour break in a couple minutes. Any thoughts on Mr. Fisher, Noah Fisher, who has been announced as the new tight ends assistant? Does the timing seem a little interesting to you, or is it just me? Because I feel like it's a little later to add a coach, right?
Yeah, it seems a little bit later, but like you said, that he was an assistant alongside, our current tight ends coach, and so that makes me think that at least the current tight ends head coach must think at least very highly of him, and seem to be that they work well together. So kind of intrigues me on that, the fact that they've already got chemistry. So I kind of like that aspect. But like you pointed out, the timing on it is a bit strange because now we're kind of coming toward the end of June, and it kind of just came out of the blue a little bit,
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that because normally spring, right, like when the season ends, you see a lot of movement with coaches. And once, like spring is set, typically your staff is pretty set. So a little bit interesting timing, which I think Matt also announced that another school had hired someone. So, I don't think we're the only ones, but I'm not sure. Maybe they felt like it would help Coach Owens in some aspect. I know defensive line, you got an assistant. Offensive line, you got an assistant. But if you think about those positions, there's a lot more players, right? In the secondary, you got corners, you got nickels, you got safeties, which safeties can be free and strong, which in our system, they're a little bit more interchangeable. But that said, those groups, you have to have assistants, wide receivers, a lot of guys in there. Tight ends, I'll be honest with you, there's not as many players in the room, so you don't always see assistants. But if it helps to improve your staff and helps your football team get better, then I think it's definitely at least a good idea, right? And again, we don't know a whole bunch about Noah Fisher, but it sounds good to me, so we're rolling with it. And by the way, he was also he was at South Alabama at the same time that Coach Womack was. So there's also a connection there. So not only with Coach Owens at Louisville, but also at South Alabama with Coach Womack, which we all know. Coaching world is a lot about, connections, who you know, and all that stuff that definitely helps you out. So they're bringing him down to Tuscaloosa, and hopefully Mr. Fisher can help get this not only tight end room right, but this running game right. And hopefully, I don't know, Reed, they made a lot of moves, man. It's definitely an encouraging sign if you ask me. All right, we got to hit this top hour break. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling. And 205-342-9904 is the number you guys want to get on that. Did I get that number just wrong? Is it saying 205-342-9904? Okay, I got it right. Sorry. I got like 3 messages popping up at one time, a million things. Let's hit the top hour break, collect ourselves, and we come back for hour number 2. And hopefully we'll have some type of commitment news from Mr. Younger coming up right on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Steve DeSager.
Big trade in the NBA. It won't be official till next month, but Giannis Antetokounmpo is going from Milwaukee to the Miami Heat along with Bobby Portis for 4 players, including Tyler Hero, and 3 first-round draft choices. The Dallas Mavericks' new coach reportedly will be Dusty May from Michigan. At the World Cup, Argentina at 2-0 won 2-0 against Austria, 2 goals for Lionel Messi. France got 2 goals from Kylian Mbappe and a 3-0 win over Iraq. Victories for Norway and Algeria. The College World Series ended with an Oklahoma victory, 13-2 against North Carolina. The Padres took the late Major League game, 1-0 over Atlanta on a home run from Manny Machado. Colorado edged Boston 3-2 on a 3-run triple bottom of the 9th off Aroldis Chapman. Dodgers got a leadoff homer from Shohei Ohtani, wound up winning 2-1 at Minnesota. And the White Sox with 2 in the 9th beat Cleveland 6-5.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamprello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education, and Advocacy.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-9149 for your free estimate today. That's 205-393-9149. Asphalt Restoration, where smooth roads start. Roll Tide.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We've been talking a lot about recruiting. Again, you got two commitments coming up today. Tyler Younger, edge out of Georgia, if you guys are just tuning in. And then also Stafford Willis, the offensive lineman. I think he plays tackle right now, but I think he's viewed a little bit more as a guard. And we watched tape on both those guys. We'll give some more thoughts later, a little bit later in hour number 2 when that comes back up. Waiting on Tyler Younger's commitment now, which I think he was set to decide at noon. Reed, any updates on that? Or I guess we probably should try to find maybe where he's doing. Rivals is doing it right here. Oh, there you go. It's official. He just committed to Alabama.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I had it pulled up, and he like ripped off his shirt, and it like had the Crimson Tide, like where legends are made, and the whole ordeal.
Well, how about this? We're going to watch it. I know it just happened 30 seconds ago, but we'll just pull it up and watch it together real quick. We'll just be behind a couple minutes. Here we go.
To commit to the university. But I would say that after great consideration and discussion, I would love to commit to the University of Alabama.
Roll Tide! Big decision here, going with Alabama. Roll Tide. A lot of Roll Tides right now in the chat. Everybody is going crazy over the latest commitment. When did you know Alabama would be the best fit for you?
To be honest, I've always grew up just envisioning myself at Alabama specifically because it's close to home, and I love Nick Saban and the coaching staff and everything like that. But to be honest, I say that once I got a connection with Coach C-Rob, GAC alum, great guy. Just him even coming to the school as well, being able to work me out and just help me with certain things. I just knew that there's no better place that can develop me to the man I want to be and to the player I want to be. Overall, like I said, he's a great coach, great mentor, and I love to be under his wing at the University of Alabama. So, Roll Tide.
And they cannot wait to have you on campus. So talk to Bama fans right now. As I said, they are loving this in the chat. So talk to them. When Tyler Younger arrives in Tuscaloosa, what can Alabama fans expect to get?
I definitely say I'll be a disciplined player. And I feel like that I'll work harder than anybody else and make sure that I give all my effort. I know there's going to be tough days, going to be long days. And I say that I persevere past anything, all adversity. I make sure I keep on pushing. And that's just been rooted within me, like I said, for my family, just like the surroundings I've been around. I never stop. I keep on going, and I'm out to do what we need to do to win, to be great. So.
All right. Well, I know they are getting a great one. And also, the coaches at GAC will be sure to have you ready to go when you step on campus. Congratulations and Roll Tide.
What's up, baby?
There it is. Tyler Younger off the board. Wow, what a day for the Alabama teams. We had 2 Auburn commitments earlier today, and now Tyler Younger out of Norcross, Georgia, picks Alabama. Let's bring in Chad Simmons. Chad, what are the Tide getting in Younger?
Yeah, I think you have to start with athlete, Josh. I mean, he grew up playing actually wide receiver as far as high school career, 6'4", a lean 215, 220 pounds. So moved from offense to defense, taking that speed with him to an outside linebacker, edge rush guy. A lot of upside there, a lot of room for him to fill out physically, develop as a pass rush guy, working his technique, his moves off the ball. So still kind of a raw athlete playing rush in, but a lot of upside for Bama to work with in the future.
Yeah, and talking about Bama, the recruiting is just starting to heat up. Chad, we kind of saw this last summer. Alabama really starts to heat up in June, heading into July, right after the official visits end. So that being said, right now, who else is Alabama trending for?
I mean, their eyes are on the clock this week. They got Stafford Willis tonight announcing he's an Alabama, fan growing up. They offered him earlier this month at camp, a big offensive lineman from Arab. And they got Osani Gales, our wide receiver from Florida Hills. On Saturday, Alabama, Tennessee, Washington, Stanford, Jeremiah Beverly set to announce on Friday from Hillcrest High School in Tuscaloosa. So another one they have their eyes on that Bama's in a good spot for. Then Kyron Caldwell, wide receiver, July 4th, a little bit of time away, but he's trending now towards Alabama after an OB this past weekend as well. So a lot of things to happen, at least trending that way for Alabama in the coming days.
All right, there it is. Chad Simmons, thanks for dropping by. Another live commitment. This one in favor of the Alabama Crimson Tide. They just got better, at least on the defensive side of the ball. Tyler Younger he's leaving the state of Georgia to go play for Alabama. Thank you, guys.
So there you have it. That was credit to Rivals, by the way, who hosted that live stream. So there you go. Tyler Younger officially commits to Alabama. He talked about Nick Saban, Alabama. It's crazy. Coach Saban's still doing recruiting favors for Alabama without even doing anything. I know everybody initially was like, oh, he's talking. He's not even having to talk to guys. I mean, there's people, they grew up watching Coach Saban. They still have that connection. So Reed, as long as that's still there, we got a few more generations, I think, that are still going to, have that connection there. I'm sure probably a little bit longer than that. Probably going to be in decent shape because that's just kind of how it is, it seems like, at least. I mean, people, they have that connection to Alabama, and they want to go play and be a part of what was done, that foundation. That's why it's so important, I feel like, to maintain that. I know we talk about maybe having a year or so where, who knows, there might be a little bit of growing pains. Maybe 2027 is a little bit better a year, but I'll be honest, when you hear comments like that, I think it does reiterate how important it still is to maintain, even when you might have a year with some youth and growing pains, man. The last thing you want to do is completely lose the mystique. I mean, because there's a little bit of luster has been lost. Naturally, that's going to happen, right? I mean, you're seeing all these programs. We talked about it yesterday. Like, right now, I mean, we can't say, and this is even probably a couple, well, I would say even maybe considering Coach Saban's last year a little bit, but at this point, I mean, there's not a whole bunch of a difference in terms of what you're going to get out of if you go to a place like Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, the top programs. You know what I mean? Like for years, it was Alabama sat atop of the throne, right? I mean, they were above everybody else. You had Nick Saban. You were pumping out draft picks like no other. Now I feel like everybody's kind of, somewhat in a little bit more of a similar range. And if you're talking about money being a driving factor, it's kind of tough. But big pickup, in my opinion, in terms of a nice developmental piece out of Tyler Younger. We talked a lot about him earlier, and I think he's definitely going to be a guy to look out for down the road, right? I don't think early on in his career, probably similar to me, might take him a few years to develop. Now, I guess the leg up he has is size-wise, I think he'll be much bigger than I was when he gets on campus. He's already 225-ish right now. He'll probably show up at 230 plus, which is more than, I would say, adequate size to at least be able to contribute in some capacity. Now, technically speaking, I was a lot further along than he is. But from a physical standpoint, he can probably even go on special teams and help you out there while he's still learning that technique and kind of getting his feet wet. But I think down the road, he has the potential to grow into something. So now we'll be waiting on, I guess, Stafford Willis next, but that will be this evening. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. And we'll just keep on rolling from there. But big pickup also, like you mentioned, Christian Robinson, something that also helped. They went to the same high school. And I know that was big, right? Christian Robinson, who is the outside linebackers coach, they developed a nice relationship. He came on campus and got his offer. They were impressed with what they saw. And I can totally see why, especially with even the clips beyond huddle of just him working out, doing bag drills. He's making a lot of progress, and I think he'll move up the rankings, Reed. I don't know if he ends up like a 4-star. I don't know where he ends up, but I think if he continues on the path that he's on, he'll probably end up having a nice senior year. He'll be a lot more comfortable rushing the passer, playing on the edge, and I think people will definitely probably still try to recruit him. I wouldn't be shocked if he has a big year, if some teams try to swoop in and try to, if someone's looking for an edge and they see that, because now he's not so much, I guess, under the radar. He just committed to Alabama. There's probably going to be some people that say, hey, let's check out this Tyler Younger and then realize, man, great size, great athleticism, former wide receiver, and just needs some fine tuning, but definitely think it's going to be a solid pickup in the long run. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling on this Talking Tuesday edition. Now we can talk some ball. I know you guys wanted to talk some ball. So drop those football questions, and we'll play some fun little, I guess, not trivia, but little, I guess, I don't know. What do you call those games? Rank games where you're ranking stuff? I don't know. We'll have some fun on this Talking Tuesday edition when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation,
9,000. That's 900,000 for a free consultation. No fees unless we win. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than that of other lawyers.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We're here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you, aggressively pursuing victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. High pressure now building in from the north and drier air starting to filter into the I-2059 corridor. Got to get south of US 80 to really start to run into the heat and humidity and a storm chance. 85 here this afternoon with sunshine. 65 tonight, 87 tomorrow. Moisture makes a return. A slight chance of showers and storms. 89 on Thursday, an afternoon storm chance. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 85 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Alabama Crimson Tide lives right here. Down to the pylon. Touchdown, Alabama. On Tide 100.9.
Welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. All right, let's hit a couple of these questions here I see in the chat. QD said, Christian, I'd be interested in what edge prospects you could watch tape on that would be like this kid, could contribute day one. I don't even remember their names specifically. I just know when, I can't remember if it was Rivals on 3. They had dropped like top 25 high school recruits or something like that, Reed. And I just went, I think there's like 4 guys on the list that were edges. And we had been talking about that position. So it was after we got off the show, and I just looked them up, looked up their huddle highlights, because I was like, I'm intrigued now. Like, everybody just keeps saying KJ Green. But I'm like, he's not the only edge guy in the country. So I'm like, well, what about this guy? What about this guy? What about this guy? I just was wondering, why we weren't connected to them and who they were. Like, what was the biggest difference? And there's a number of those guys. I'm like, I can see why they're high-rated guys. They got the physical tools. They got the traits. You turn on the tape, they're a little bit more advanced and further along with where they're at. You can just see that there's a little bit clearer of a path of those guys probably being able to get into some rotation, even if it's third down stuff. But I don't remember their names specifically. I know Texas A&M has guys committed that was solid. What was that other? Dang, I got to go back and look. I can't remember the other schools. I know Texas A&M was one. Maybe, I don't think it was Florida. I don't know. There was a number of them, but they were pretty decent players. Another question was Ryan Grubb's status mid-season if the running game is still struggling. I'll use that term instead. That's an interesting question. Do we think that Grubb could be out the door if the running game is not improved by the midpoint of this upcoming season? Personally, I don't think so. I just don't see Kalen DeBoer being that type of guy, Reed. And you're talking about a coordinator, being fired midseason. Like, that comes with a lot. Now, I know Kalen is an offensive guy. He's got experience being a coordinator. I'm sure he could take over. I'm sure they could figure it out. But it would be different if it was last year when you had Nick Sheridan still on staff, who also served as the coordinator the year prior. But just knowing, I don't see that happening, Reed. Personally, I don't. I mean, they've got a deep connection. I think maybe you could see some adjustments made, but I don't see him being out the door. And then just knowing what I know, I don't see Kalen doing something like that. I don't know how to explain it. Just the way he is, especially with his coaches, I couldn't see him making that decision during the season. Now, remember, Grubb was not renewed a contract. He was one of the few. It was him and the Saban assistants, which they're kind of moving on from anything Coach Saban. At least it's pretty clear that's what's happening. But I think at the end of the year, there will be a decision to be made, Reed. And there probably will be a lot hanging on that of, did the running game improve, right? I mean, or not even just the running game, but were there improvements with the issues and the areas of weakness from last football season? Were they corrected? Were they addressed? Because here's going to be the excuse, not excuse, but what's going to happen is they replaced the offensive line coach, so you can't fall back on that. They brought in a whole bunch of new players, which, let's be clear, I know people are going to say, well, they're young, they're still developing. That was their choice. Let's remember that. That was their choice. Now, I get it. You had to have an overhaul. Some are going to be young, but they had a window to get who they wanted out of the portal. Not saying there was a bunch of just all-star players there, but you get my point, Reed. So that's not going to be much of an excuse. You can't say, oh, well, Grubb had young guys that he had to coach with and a bunch of new. Well, that's not the ideal scenario. But again, you had an off season to do everything in your power. So to be honest with you, I think depending on how this season goes offensively, there's not many built-in excuses for. I hate wording it like that. I don't want to seem like I'm being harsh, but you get my point, Reed. I feel like we've kind of exhausted a lot of swapped the offensive line coach. You're getting more people with offensive line identities, whether that's the assistant tight ends coach, the tight ends coach himself, an offensive line coach who has a great reputation for what he's done. I just don't know. I mean, running back room, you sign a 5-star in E.J. Crowell. I get it. He's young. But again, portal was open. We tried to get Hollywood. Didn't work out. But you get the point. I mean, I think at this point, it's just Grubb has to prove it. And I think that will determine his future, whether it's here in Tuscaloosa or not. What do you think about that, Reed?
Yeah, Christian, I don't think he would get fired mid-season, but my question kind of to you and something that I'm currently thinking about is, let's just say middle of the season comes and we're looking worse off than we did toward the tail end of last year. Like, what happens then? Like, is there some duties that are going to be changed around? Is someone to take over for, play calling? What do we do then?
Yeah, I think those are the most realistic options. And I know the people that love positivity only, they're probably like, why are you guys talking like this? Hey, it's talking season. We're just talking hypotheticals here. But I think those would probably be the first steps. Adjustment in who's calling the plays. You always look at that. You have multiple coaches that have backgrounds and experience serving as run game coordinators, right? I think a lot of people forget that. It's not just, run game coordinator, it can be a number of guys on the staff contributing to that or solely being responsible for that. Offensive line coaches, a lot of the time have that responsibility. So I think those would be those first steps. If you get midway through the season, the running game is still struggling. Of course, you're going to look at personnel. You're going to say, is there a guy who's not currently out there who can go out there and give us snaps, which, hell, we've seen them rotate. They're not afraid to rotate. I'd prefer them not play musical chairs this year, but I'm going to be straight up with you, Reed. I wouldn't be shocked if we see some musical chairs maybe at a position or two, especially given the number of new faces. I know it seems like they're trying to settle down with naming Jackson Lloyd early, but let's just call a spade a spade. It really was mostly musical chairs at two positions last year anyway, and really that's kind of what it's looking like again. Left guard, you don't really know exactly what direction you're going to go. I think Will Sanders is the favorite, but he didn't participate in the spring, so I expect that battle to be pretty, I wouldn't say lengthy, but you get the point. You're probably gaining some ground that you didn't really, because you didn't get to see Will in the spring. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's a little bit of a newer dynamic there than right tackle, right guard. And we're just being honest, going off what we saw in the spring. I know we brought in Javen James and they moved him to right tackle, bumped Michael Carroll inside. There were some inconsistencies at right tackle. Especially if you guys watched the spring game, I think people would note that the right side had some issues, right? Even with Michael Carroll at right guard. So if that continues, you might look at putting Michael Carroll back at right tackle, which, he can play that position at a high level, which you're fine with, but then who's going to go in at right guard? So there might be some musical chairs. So you might look at that part. But, yeah, I think those would probably be the first calls of action. But knowing Coach DeBoer's personality, knowing what I've heard and just know about kind of the dynamics and how they work. You got some coaches that are like, this ain't good enough, your ass is out the door. That's not that. So, yeah, I don't think that. But somebody made an interesting comment. They said, well, if the running game's still that bad during the middle point of the season, he might need to be worried about his own spot. But to be fair, after that extension, I don't think that unless there's like some crazy, like you lose like 3 of the first 5 games, something crazy like that, maybe you bite the bullet and just grab all the money you can, but I don't see that happening, and that's a little bit too crazy of a hypothetical. But speaking of that, let's just get a consensus from everybody. I'll ask you this as well, Reed. How confident are you that the running game will be improved? And then the follow-up is, what is your expectation? Like, what do you feel like is a realistic expectation of improvement for the running game? You don't got to go like into every little metric, but like, what do you feel like would be considered? Well, I guess it's not hard to be improved when you're like near the dead last, but you get the point. Like, what are your expectations, realistic expectations to expect from the running game this season?
I think, Christian, my expectations are that we're seeing progress throughout the season, right? And consistent progress, that we're continuously finding a way to get better. Now, we talked about this, a few weeks ago, about how, hey, it's okay to have those nicks and knacks, the first few weeks of the season. But by the time we hit the midseason stride and we're moving, like, all that should be gone out the window, right? We should not be having these, hit the wall type moments where we're like, hey, what do we do? Do we just strictly rely on the pass again? And also on top of that, I also want to see us be able to, in those late game situations when, we're having to try to drain the clock, we're up a score, maybe 3 points from a field goal. If it's maybe
4-minute offense,
that's what I'm saying. We got to be able to drain that clock and not just fully rely on the pass game.
You know what I want to see and what I would consider success from the running game? I don't even care about the metrics or the numbers. You got a lot of people that they point that out, and maybe it makes it easier for like listeners or the fans to kind of, to me, and maybe I'm leaning into Coach Saban's philosophy, let the results take care of themselves. I don't care about the numbers right now. What I want to see is execution, but even before that, I want to see grit. I want to see toughness. I want to see physicality. That's where it all starts. I want to see a shift in the mentality. I feel like sometimes, like, execution aside, which was a big issue, just sometimes I feel like when we watched our offensive line last year, they just didn't have that factor to them, right? Like, it was almost like sometimes you saw a little bit of physicality out of a guy here. There's like spurts of it, but collectively, like, it just felt like we were okay with just enough. Does that make sense? Like, it's like we're not getting great movement, but we do just enough, and it's just kind of like I want to see that toughness. I want to see that grit. I want to see that nastiness before I even think about numbers. Then the next to that is I want to see uniformity, and I want to see execution. I want to see guys working together. A lot of times when we watch the tape on this show, we do this all the time, right? We do film breakdowns. I would show you and point out, like, we're working a combo block. Guys are on different levels. The timing's off. You have a guy that, because of the timing's off and we're on different levels, the D tackle ends up splitting the double team. And if you would have just had that in sync and executed that part, what ended up being a 1 or 2 yard gain probably would have been 4 or 5, 7 yard gain. You know what I mean? Like, I think those little details, they matter so. And I know they matter so much. And before I even think of, hey, improvement by numbers and metrics, I think I need to see that first and foremost. And I think if I can see that, I think everything else will fall into place. And I think they have a good chance of, Rayson Delgatti, I feel like he's displayed some of that. He brings a little bit of that to, this offensive line unit. Michael Carroll, I feel like is that type of player. Jackson Lloyd probably needs to get a little bit stronger. But I think from a technical standpoint, he does a lot of good stuff. I've seen him do a number of things that I said, okay, technique-wise, I feel like that's pretty advanced in my opinion. So I think it's just about finding a couple other guys. Will Sanders, I feel like, was snappy. I feel like he kind of, not the biggest guy, but I feel like he kind of played a little bit like that as well. So I think, to me, if they can just do that part, I would consider that improvement. If they go from 126 and they're in the 80s, not great, not going to be, jumping for joy. But if they're in the 80s because they throw the ball a hell of a lot, but when they do need to run it, they're pretty successful and they play with that toughness and physicality, I can live with that. But I think it really all depends, kind of how it looks, because their philosophy isn't necessarily that. They're not trying to go run the ball 40 times a game. They want to pass the football. So, naturally, I don't expect the numbers to be very high. at Washington, and they only averaged like just shy of 120. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was enough to balance it out, and they had a 1,000-yard rusher and ultimately get them to a national championship appearance. So I think that's the biggest key for me, Reed, is just seeing those qualities, right? And a lot of those really are intangible things. You know what I mean? It's really just a mindset. And hopefully that's what Coach Clem and Coach Owens and now Coach Fisher and all the various other movements and changes they've made, hopefully those guys can help attribute to that. We got to hit a timeout. We come back and go to the phone lines. We got Smitty up next. 205-342-9904 is the number. We'll keep talking about a number of different things in this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Brother Law Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless
atmosphere, outstanding customer service, when they do that at Bama Entertainment, where the odds are always in your face. They
brag about it all the time like that. Brag about it being
do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal?
Opportunity.
I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration,
able to kind of
we
get
transform
into that
driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or
when it's
resurfacing.
going well,
fast,
it's
durable,
phenomenal.
and family-owned quality that you can trust.
But
don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393
to get on the
number one prescribed biologic and Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizzy.com or 1-866-SKYRIZZY.
If you guys are new, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 5K. We're getting
and I want to
close.
tell you about our great friends
Again, we're in the dog days of summer. We're a live radio show. We just stream various platforms while we host the show.
A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping
more in terms. We do film breakdowns,
welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance,
during the season.
If
you guys,
with a proven track record of over 30 plus years of experience, no one's better fit for the job.
I mean, every week
contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752
all 22 on the screen.
Again, that's
Brian
Harding Construction
we go through, talk about what happened, why it happened, what we need to fix, all that.
Never miss a moment of the action. Download the free Tide 100.9 app today.
Definitely have a lot of that coming y'all's way soon. Because right now, dog days of summer, man, we're kind of just chilling a little bit, kind of just making it through, man. But SEC Media Days are coming up. We're not far off. Reed, I haven't seen that. Let me pull it up, man. And producing on the field. All right, we can talk a little bit about that. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We got a couple things I want to dive into, but first, let's go to the phone lines because we got Sonny up next, 205-342-9904. Sonny, welcome in. Sonny, you there? Going twice. And all right, looks like Sonny might have dropped. Sonny, if you want to circle back, feel free to do so. You obviously know the phone number. Just dial us back. We had a question from Smitty in the chat. He says, "Can you tell us how challenging it is for a freshman tight end in terms of producing on the field, just kind of getting up to speed, without me necessarily playing it, just kind of knowing teammates that were tight ends and kind of what it takes to get on the field and contribute." Tight end's one of those positions, man. Depends on what type of tight end you are, what kind of system you're in, and kind of how they're looking to use you. But typically, if we just focus on Alabama, right, and what we've seen out of our tight ends, I mean, in the past, we used a lot of 12 personnel, pro style type, sets and systems that included inline tight ends, which again, you got tight end Y, which are inline tight ends. They're going to be more of your blocking tight end. That's the best way to remember it, right? Tight end Y is normally going to be attached to the core, bigger guy, stronger guy. He's your primary blocking tight end. H-backs, Fs, Us, I mean, it's basically an off-ball tight end, guy that might line up in the backfield a little bit more of a pass catcher. Sometimes it's more of a fullback build, like Robbie Oots. He would be considered in that space, or even just some of those pass catching tight ends, right? That I think there's all tight ends kind of come in all different shapes and sizes sometimes because we've seen fullbacks kind of be weeded out. And so what people have done is that they just basically take their tight ends and turn them into part-time fullbacks pretty much. Irv, my teammate, he was definitely more of an H, played him in the backfield some. If there are some sets where he would almost serve as somewhat of a fullback, not really, but you get the point, but it was a great pass catcher. Hale Henges was our Y, right? More of a dominant blocker, and that's how you differentiate that. But in terms of their path to playing and kind of what's expected, let's take Caleb Edwards, for example. And in this system, tight ends are heavily involved, right? I mean, but that's in both aspects, right? You need to be a decent blocker to help out in the running game, but you also need to be able to help out in the pass game, whether that's running routes, you have good hands. I mean, you got to see Josh Cuevas. Cuevas was a good example of a guy that did both. I mean, they leaned on him to be that blocker. I think Danny Lewis, if he was healthy, probably would have been a really good option to put in there for, that specifically to help you out physically, but was never healthy. Cuevas ended up taking on that role, but also was very reliable because the other piece in terms of the pass game, Reed, which we know is so important, it's like a quarterback security blanket, right? Those underneath routes, whether there's chip delays, they're always like a quarterback's best friend. It's almost like a last resort sometimes. Not always. I mean, there's play designs for them, but you get the point. Screen game, they can be, crucial to your offense, which we've seen. And I would argue most successful teams have a very good tight end and a good tight end quarterback relationship. A la Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, which his drink brand followed me on Instagram this morning. Maybe we can do some work with them. Yeah, I think he has like a energy shot business or something. Anyway, Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce. I mean, you've got Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews. I mean, the list goes on, right? I mean, really good football teams typically have a really good tight end. So that being said, I mean, the path depends, and it's going to be tough. The hardest part for tight ends normally, though, in terms of them getting on the field early, like you mentioned as a freshman, is if they can hold up physically, right? For example, O.J. Howard, phenomenal tight end, but O.J. be the first one to tell you he had to develop as a blocker, right? They used to, get on him hard because they needed him to develop, right? I mean, O.J. had the frame, the size, but, he was a pass-catching tight end. That was where he excelled. And the weakness of his game would have been in the run game. So he had to work on that because our system needed him to do that. And he ultimately got a lot better. He played as a freshman, but you could tell, when he was in those situations, having OJ block, a 275-pound defensive end in that C area, you probably, knew that it probably wasn't the best matchup. But when it came to him being a mismatch for linebackers, you favor that battle. So you can get on the field early if you're a good pass catcher and whatnot, but it's kind of like running backs, right? You got to be able to help pass pro. The better you are, the earlier you're probably going to see the field, even if you are a great pass catcher. So that's a good question there. But, yeah, I think that's normally if you can block, you'll play earlier as a tight end. But if you can play football, you can play football. You can catch the ball, they'll find ways to include. That's why you saw Caleb Edwards included last year. He's a good pass-catching player for us, and he struggled in the run game, but he was sufficient enough to where he could kind of hold his own just enough, and hopefully he can improve in that department. 205-342-9994. We got Sonny back on the line. Sonny, welcome in.
Hey, Christian, how you doing?
I'm good, Sonny. How are you?
Our running game, how much of the problem was, we just didn't have no difference makers at running back. I mean, I'd watch some of the games, some holes would be there. They just didn't have the vision or the acceleration to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember like a play in the SEC championship game, AKD, if he just takes like a half step to the right, he'd score like an 80-yard touchdown. So how much is that the problem?
I'm glad you brought that up because I almost feel like sometimes we throw so much on the offensive line that we don't mention enough that the backs also played a role in some of the shortcomings. And you're 100% right. And listen, and to be fair, the offensive line, it's their job to open things up, but football is a team sport. They're not always going to get their blocks perfect. There's always going to be something, and that's when is in the back's hands to, number one, when it is there, he needs to make sure he does his job and hits the hole, has the right vision, and knows where he's supposed to hit it. Because that's the other thing I don't think people realize. Again, football really boils down to a bunch of little details. There's the aiming points for these backs. Sometimes I feel like the backs didn't even know where they were supposed to be going. And that's a problem. And like you said, you end up missing stuff. But two, you got to have the ability to create, man. And, you know, for us to have as much talent as we're supposed to have, I mean, we had good players. We didn't have anybody that we saw really do that. And I agree with you. I think they definitely played a large role, probably a lot more of a role than people have been alluding to, which myself included. I need to make that more clear. You know, it's not always on the offensive line. There were a number of times that, yes, I agreed that I watched. I'm like, man, where are our backs going here? I mean, the cut is right there. We're just running into the back of our lineman right here. Doesn't make sense. So that needs to be a lot better this year, too. I agree.
I mean, I just watched like Trayshawn Brown in the spring, and it seemed like he had much more of that, you know, feel for where to go, where to make his cuts than, you know, a lot of the guys we had have been veterans on the team. I mean, I know it's hard to stock in a spring game. It seemed like he just looked like a natural running back to me, what I'm trying to say.
No, I understand. And I don't think we had we had an interesting, like Jam, I thought was our best all-around back. And I thought when he was healthy, he did some good stuff. When he came back in the Auburn game, he felt healthy and he looked good. Then he got hurt again. I think the injuries kind of were messing with him. But then like Daniel Hill, I feel like nobody had like that true home run explosiveness to them, that creativity. And I feel like you clearly could see that we lack that. And hopefully, I mean, I know E.J. Crowell, he appears to have all those tools. You mentioned Trayshawn Brown as well. He definitely's kind of got something to him as well. Maybe we end up relying on some of those young guys. I think it's kind of wide open at this point. I mean, whoever can show that they can make plays. I mean, A.K. Deary, he's a highly rated guy coming out of high school. I mean, we know he's got potential, but they just got to go out there and prove it, man, and just go take it. I mean, everybody wants to score touchdowns to get all the attention. I mean, the opportunity's there. I don't know why people aren't taking advantage of it. It's right. It's there for the taking.
Let me ask you about a couple of players. Xavier Griffin, what do you think his future position is?
I love Xavier Griffin. I think it probably will evolve kind of depending on what we have on our roster, kind of what the depth looks like, because he naturally probably can play both. I mean, I think he looks comfortable playing inside backer. I love the range and the athleticism that he brings at that position. But I also love the twitch that he brings off the edge. And I think he has a twitch that really none of the other guys really have. I mean, Yonze Pierre is a twitchy guy, don't get me wrong, but like Xavier Griffin has even more twitch to him. And I think seeing where he's at now at the young age that he's at, he's done a great job putting on some weight, getting a little bit bigger and stronger. He's going to maintain that athleticism, man. I just feel like he can be, disruptive and so effective off the edge. Now, I don't know if he needs to be doing that full time. That's why I like the comparison to Jahad Campbell, because I think he will be a great off-ball linebacker, but then come down on third down packages and let him rush off the edge. To me, I think that would probably be the best of both worlds. But if you're saying which one would he excel at, I'd have to watch him. I haven't seen him enough playing edge and base packages to know, how comfortable he might be when it's, you're talking about being really in the thick of it in that C area. You know what I mean? Like, I'd have to see a little bit more of that. But if you're talking about just lining them up in the 9 technique, playing against tight ends and whatnot, he definitely could probably hold his own. And I think he could probably learn and hold his own if you had him in some other situation, like really playing a 5 and whatnot. I just haven't seen him do a whole bunch of it at this level. So it's hard for me to say, but he looks more than comfortable stacking off the ball. And personally, if it was me, I would start him there and then let him work that position. And if you want to move him down, it's a lot easier to move forward than it is backwards. Meaning if he learns inside backer and gets comfortable there, it'll be a lot easier for you to say, okay, next year we want you playing a little bit more Wolf. Versus if he played Wolf this year, and then you're asking him to get comfortable with run fits and playing off the ball. So I think you start him at inside, let him get some, in those rush packages, and then maybe for depth purposes, he plays a little bit more edge if you need him to.
On that defensive line, I like what I saw out of Terrence Green, the transfer from Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
You put him beside Simmons, so he's going to play the other spot. And give me a couple of defensive linemen you think can have a breakout season this year.
London Simmons, without a doubt. I think London Simmons is probably our best interior defensive lineman. I mean, I guess if you technically count Devin Tompkins, he's going to be kind of playing bandit, but also sliding inside some. But if you're talking about true interior lineman, I think London Simmons is on. I think he's on course to probably have a breakout type season. I mean, I think Terrence Green is a great addition. I've only seen him during the spring, and I think he's a big guy. He's got great length. Not sure how much he brings from like a pass rush standpoint, but if you're bringing him in to clog things up, eat up some of those blocks, I think he'll be very helpful in that department. But I like London Simmons a lot. Steve Boomwa is very intriguing, was very raw when he got here. He had all the physical tools and traits, but from a football standpoint, he had a lot of work to do. But he's put in that work, and it's shown. I mean, this spring, I would say he was probably one of the most improved players from this spring. And I think if he keeps on the trajectory that he's on, I don't know if he's going to end up playing a significant amount of snaps. I don't know if he's just kind of in the rotation. I don't know what it ultimately ends up being, but I do know that he's got something to him where he's just disruptive. He's big, he's strong. Just watching him come off the football. I mean, he was a lot to handle this spring for our offensive line. Granted, they're pretty green right now, but I would say London Simmons, Devin Tompkins, when he slides in some, I think Terrence Green helps out. But then I think somebody with a lot of upside would be Steve Boomwa. But I think, Bingley Jones will be a nice rotational guy that, give you some snaps. But off the top of my head, and I might be missing somebody, but those come to mind.
What about Jeremiah Beaton? What you think of him?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Thank you. I was talking about him yesterday. Last season, there was conversations regarding, him eating into Tim Keenan snaps. And we know Tim Keenan is a good football player, did a lot of good stuff for us, played a lot of meaningful snaps. And Jeremiah Beaton, they're really high on last year to the point where, he was probably going to be getting a number of reps before he got hurt. So I think if he can come back, from that injury and be healthy. And I think he was a little limited during the spring. I know he was out there, but I don't think he was like 100% full go. We'll have to see. But I think he's a good football player as well, that I think he definitely will help out that unit. There's a lot of bodies in that room that I think could be good contributors. I don't know if anybody's truly like elite in terms of the elite that we have seen the past years, but I think we have a lot of good football players that are potential Sunday type players at some point, and I think it ends up being a little bit by committee type approach, in my opinion.
The last player, Big Johnson at linebacker. What's your
Yeah.
What do you think his upside?
I think he's got some good upside. I remember when he first got here. I mean, he looked the part. He's a good athlete. I know there's a number of guys in that room competing right now, but he's done some good stuff as well this spring. I feel like he's kind of got overshadowed a little bit by, you got Caleb Woodson that transferred in. QB Reese, is very instinctive, a little bit smaller, but he's a hitter. He's very, very intriguing. Just watching him out there, he makes plays anytime he's in there. And then I know even guys like Zay Hall had some opportunities, right? And you still got Luke Metz. There's a lot of guys that are competing right now, and I think sometimes Duke Johnson gets kind of overlooked, but I think he's a good football player with some upside that could end up earning some I guess a role. But he's got a lot of competition right now, so we'll have to kind of see through fall camp. But I want to see him a little bit more from fall camp because, like I said, there's a lot of guys that were getting some of those earlier reps ahead of him that I saw a lot more out of them than him. So it's a little bit harder for me to answer that right now, but I like the potential that he has.
Oh, yeah, man, I've been watching some old games, and I come across the 2018 Ole Miss game, man. You really showed out in that game.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was selfishly upset that we didn't really play in the second half because I'm like, man, I had 3 sacks in the first half. My brother, I'm trying to pad my stats. This ain't no small opponent. This is Ole Miss. I'm like, come on, man. But hey, it is what it is.
Play of the game or something. I mean, y'all just went on just killed them.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, that was a fun one, man. We us collectively as a team, we went down to Oxford and it wasn't even. Yeah, that was a beat down. Yeah, that was a good one. But Sonny, I appreciate it. Always good to hear from you, brother. Good deal. All right. We got to hit time out. We come back. We wrap things up on this Talking Tuesday. This is in the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact...
Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit TremfyaRadio.com.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the
Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Find adventure, power, and performance today at Tuscaloosa Jeep Dodge Ram.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. High pressure now building in from the north and drier air starting to filter into the I-2059 corridor. Got to get south of US 80 to really start to run into the heat and humidity and a storm chance. 85 here this afternoon with sunshine. 65 tonight, 87 tomorrow. Moisture makes a return. A slight chance of showers and storms. 89 on Thursday, an afternoon storm chance. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Stay up to date with the Crimson Tide. Local high school sports and Bama in the pros right here on Tide 100.9.
Breaking news with the Swordsby situation, which we'll have to cover tomorrow. The NFL has sent out a memo informing not only him, but I guess everybody else in the National Football League that they don't plan on holding a supplemental draft this summer anymore. And in fact, they're encouraging Brandon Swordsby to enter the NFL draft potentially in the 2027 regular draft next season, which the way it's worded, Reed, it's not even like a guarantee. They're saying, to consider doing that. And if I had to guess, and we'll talk about this in depth tomorrow, we know how the NFL is when it comes to reputation. We know how serious they take betting and all that stuff. We've seen the punishments handed out to players literally in the past several years that have been involved in similar things. If I had to guess, they want to set a precedent, because how could you as the NFL punish players in your own league for their gambling, some of them not even close to what Brendan did, and then allow this young man who just was found guilty of doing it throughout his college tenure and is right in the spotlight to come prancing right in through the supplemental draft and just immediately play without any action or disciplinary action taken. I think this is the NFL's way of almost saying it's almost like an indirect suspension. Does that make sense? I personally think that's kind of what this feels like. We're going to talk more in depth about that. I'd love to get y'all's thoughts on it tomorrow as well, because we've like Chelsea said in the chat, man, it's like a never-ending TV series with Brendan Swordsby, man. He might as well get a reality show at this point. Hey, before we go, big shout-out to Lamprey Law, Education and Advocacy. I told you guys I got a lot going on right now. Big thanks to Adam. When you have representation like that, you can reach out, get a free consultation, and they can help you out, and that's exactly what I did yesterday, man. Adam is awesome. He's helped me out a lot with a lot of things that I've got going on, and we just want you guys to also get that help and representation. It's affordable. They'll beat out the competitors. Lamprello-law.com is the website. Plus, they offer a bunch of other services like academic and career planning, subject matter master, you name it, high school, college, graduate students, on top of all of that defense support that they offer with the lawyer side of things. So check them out at Lamprello Law, Lamprello-law.com, and Lamprello Law on YouTube for free legal advice. That'll do it for this Talking Tuesday edition. Ended up being a great show. Appreciate you guys supporting us, listening. Tide 100.9 on our streams, Read Behind the Glass. We look forward to doing it again tomorrow right here, Tide 100.9, 1230. WT.